created to mean certain things and appeal to certain people. So I talk about how this stuff was created to indoctrinate the people that was in Egypt during this time, because they would not accept, Serapis, or they wouldn't accept these Greek gods they was putting out for the Egyptian people. So this religion was created, and they was indoctrinated into this religion. Again, I showed you guys. I took this picture here myself at the Cairo Museum. This is Serapis Christos. A lot of people think when we talk about this, we just shooting fire our ass. We just bullshit. Like this stuff ain't real. People really just ignore facts that's right in front of their face. This was taken, I took this picture myself at the Cairo Museum. This is Serapis Christos. His name is under it. It's a bunch of depictions of him there, giving you, this is way before Jesus Christ ever was supposed to be born. And again, you have them trying to push onto African people, black people, the image of God. The image of God being a white man. And this is where we first see it at with Serapis, and the worship of Serapis is throughout Egypt during this time, which the Egyptians didn't accept. And then later on, we would get this whole creation of Judaism, the Hebrew law, what have you, that they were practicing in Greek, which we didn't get a Hebrew text that we can prove exists until the Masoretic text. We get into these debates, and I know it's a lot of people who really want to push the Ethiopian Bible and make it as if we somehow had the Bible. Christians, black Christians, desperately want to make it as if we had the Bible before the white man gave it to us. That's what they want to push there. Oh, we had it in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Bible is the oldest Bible. The Ethiopian Bible is not the oldest Bible. And anybody who want to push that deception on you will not talk about the Vetus Latina, the Latin Vulgates, or even the Septuagint. They won't talk about, Saint Jerome basically completely changed the Septuagint around when he created the Vetus Latina and the Latin Vulgate. So when these books went into to be copied or written or what have you, they changed a lot. And again, we proved that with the fact that a lot of the scriptures and the King James Version, a lot of the stories that we know were not in the oldest manuscripts that we find. So many times I have Christians and Hebrews come out and say the Bible was changed. It's not the same as the original, which we never had the original. We never had them. We only have copies of copies. Those copies we have errors and mistakes. So again, if you believe that the Bible was changed and it's not the same as the original, which we never had the original, why would you believe the book that you have? Why would you believe any of it? Again, since I just told you and shown you a Masonic Bible to where the Masons supposed to be ruling the world and supposed to be the evil presence of Satan or what have you. If they got a Bible, why would you believe in a book that you got if they got a Bible? Think about that. So do they have the correct Bible, the Bible that's right, or do you have the Bible that's right? Are you a Mason? And are you going to become a Mason to get your hands on the Masonic Bible that's supposed to be the right one? What is different from theirs that's different from yours? And I'm going to tell you now, it's big, major changes, big differences, I should say, not changes, but it's all in how the words are aligned and put in certain areas that is for the Mason to break down. You wouldn't even know. You can look at your Bible and look at that Bible, and you'll be hard pressed to find a difference if you don't know what to look for. So that's just something that I will not, of course, reveal because it's not my place to do that. But that's how you want to break it down. I showed you guys in previous videos the King James Version that's in the British Museum. You open up the pages right there. You have the Masonic square and compass that's basically coded right there on that opening page in the dedication part to King James. So they're giving it to you, right there in front of your face, the Masonic Bible. And you have to then question the book you have and think about, why does this exist? Why did we get this book in America that, just so happened to be founded by Masons? And it's our agenda, is it coinciding with the Masonic agenda? What is their agenda? Why do they have this book? What is the point and purpose of it? These are all things you got to really think of before you accept this book. The book is for you to study and learn and research, not for you to follow verbatim, word for word, as if this stuff actually happened, because they don't. Back of the dollar spells out Mason. You put the Star of David or the star over it, spells out Mason. We all know this. It says, "In God we trust." What God is it talking about? They want you to say it's some Masonic God. demonic, demon, satanic God or what have you, or Satan himself. And you got to think about that. If it's Satan, how do they got a Bible that's talking about Jesus and all the stuff Jesus talks about? It's in their Bible. So how could it be preaching towards Satan if that's the case? Then you got to get esoteric with it and think about how does Satan fit in with this whole thing. And when you come to the conclusion, what I've been trying to tell you guys for the longest, and I'm speaking to the Christians who follow me, because a bunch of questions, I get a lot of questions from Christians all the time that's on the fence, and they are the ones who pose these questions to me. So like I've been getting so many emails and messages from people since I've been away. So it's just some of the things I wanted to jump on and put out videos and address, which I'll keep doing, because a lot of the stuff, it needs to be talked about. So again, for my Christian followers or the people that's still on the fence, think about that. Why would they give you this Bible? One, why would they have this Bible if they're supposed to be following Satan? In God we trust. What God is they talking about? And I just got into that in, last video. Trust in myself, trust in you. The God of the Bible is the grand architect. It's the one who created it all. What is that? It goes back to you. And, when you understand esoterically. But it's something to look at and for you to question and think about, why do we have so many Bibles? What was going on? And you got to understand that different times they had to teach different ways. So again, I talked about how when you really get into the Peshitta or the Syriac Bible, or mainly the Nag Hammadi manuscripts, for those again who read Greek, when you get into the Nag Hammadi manuscripts and you start looking at these older manuscripts, who was they afraid of? Was it Satan? Remember, we didn't get revelations again to the 5th century. And in those older manuscripts, they're talking about dragons. Yeah, and I put out a whole video on this. So they're talking about dragons. And again, it's one of those things where you got to think about, how do we have depictions of dragons back before anybody's supposed to, TV existed? So anytime anybody's seen a dinosaur, which before they were called dinosaurs, they were called dragons, which I talked about that. How is it that, these people drew and knew about dinosaurs? We're not supposed to have coexisted with dinosaurs, yet they drew dragons hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. We can find depictions of them. I talked about the Hanrak-Omphalos slate, one of the oldest artifacts in existence, the Norma palette. Look at these things. They're like a damn stegosaurus. Whatever it is, it's animal-like. It's something that's not supposed to exist with man, yet there it is. There's no TV back then. Is that imaginary? And we just look at this stuff and we just brush it off. It's the Wexel dragon in London. So many different myths about these dragons. The fact that on the zodiac, the Chinese zodiac, every single animal on that zodiac exists is real. But the dragon is also on that zodiac. So are we to say that the dragon never existed and wasn't real? You got to think about that. The serpent dragon is what it's talking about. So then we look at the Bible and we see that Satan is called the dragon, the serpent dragon. And again, I showed you guys in the book of Genesis, I showed you guys with the whole Garden of Hesperides, where they got the Garden of Eden story. This story predates anything biblical. This is an old Greek story where in the Garden of Hesperides, you have the apples of immortality, like Eve and the apple. And the serpent dragon on that tree was a serpent dragon on that tree. So the serpent in the Garden of Eden is supposed to be Satan. And then you have the serpent in the Garden of Hesperides story, which is supposed to be who? Right? Has to be Satan. Again, you go back to the book of Genesis where God cursed Satan on his belly, or the serpent on its belly. What serpent do you know of that's not already on its belly? Right? So if you curse me on his belly, then what did I have before you cursed me on my belly? And then you look at the serpent dragon that has arms and legs, front arms, back arms. So could it have been this serpent dragon? It's giving you the clues. Again, it's all esoteric. It's trying to show you and point you into a certain direction for you to figure out what it's talking about. And a lot of people are not picking up on it because they're taking the book literal. All these books, you have to really go through them, especially during the times, and decipher what was they trying to project during that time frame. So you can think about with the King James Version, which again, is one of the things that stuck out to me, that, we get this book during slavery, which again, we'll go back to the Ethiopian Bible. One of the reasons why they want you to believe that this book began in Africa is because they don't want to address that fact that, wait a minute, y'all taught us this King James Version in slavery. They wasn't teaching us the King James Version in Ethiopia when we got the Ethiopian Bible. King James Version didn't exist yet. So what was that version? What was in that book? What was in that, Abba-Garima manuscript, which I showed you guys? Abba-Garima was a Byzantine royal, white dude, who basically supposed to have wrote the Ethiopian Bible in a day. So again, that manuscript that he wrote came from a Greek manuscript, when you understand the story. A lot of people talk about the Ethiopian Bible. It is the oldest illustrated Bible. It's not the oldest Bible that exists. It is the oldest illustrated Bible. It's not older than Codex Vaticanus or Codex Sinaiticus. It does not predate those. It does not predate, none of those predate the Septuagint Greek. So we got to look at the history of it and see, like, oh, something existed before this. It's not that the Bible was created in Ethiopia. That's not the case. It was created and then pushed on to these people. So the books is the key. When you start getting into the books themselves, they want you to focus on what's in the book and accept that as real history, which has never been proven. All the stories and everything in there, they want you to accept as actually happening or happened, which it never did. We can't prove that it never did. They want you to get immersed in the book and not in the history of the book and where it came from. That's the first place you should start. Oh, you telling me all this stuff in the book is true? Well, who wrote it? Who gave me the book? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, huh? Who are these dudes? Where they come from? Can we prove they exist? We can't prove none of these people existed. So you got to look at that. And then everything, all the flaws and pitfalls that we get with this book, any other book, people be like, get that shit out of here. It's bullshit. But with the Bible, because it's backed by so much indoctrination, it's backed by the church, it's backed by movies, it's backed by so many people pushing this agenda that it's hard for people to come to grips with reality and accept the fact that this is a man-made book that has nothing to do with the all-powerful creator that created everything that we see. Because it's fear. People are scared. They don't want to accept that because then they feel alone. They feel like they on their own. They got nothing protecting them. They don't have nobody that got their back. And that's scary for a lot of people, which I can understand. But you got to get into the facts and truth about the books. When you get into the books and the history of the books is how you figure out where this stuff came from or what's really going on. And of course, you got to read the books themselves. So again, you go back to the serpent, dragon, and Satan being called the serpent, and then they give you the whole Garden of Hesperides story. You got to look at all that and look at these stories and see how it, can be compared with Greek mythology. Even the apple, Pandora's box, I get into all this, Deucalion and Pharaoh, which would be the whole Noah's Ark story, Samson, Hercules, or what have you. All this stuff can be compared and contrast, and you can see, again, it's Greek. And that's where the stuff stems from. And it's people who don't want to accept, it's common sense. The Greek mythology existed long before anything biblical. It's just said. We don't have any proof. Even with the whole Codex Sinaiticus, we don't have any proof of any biblical text existing before these Greek stories, which we have. We have fragments. We have proof that these stories existed long before anything biblical. So it gives you an understanding on where stuff came from, coupled with the fact that, poof, we get the Septuagint Greek from a Greek, Ptolemy II Philadelphus. You can see where they got the stories from and what was put in there. It's just that simple. So it's not to say that, because we don't have the original, full, complete Septuagint. So it's not to say that those stories that we have with King James Version is the same as, the Septuagint, the original Septuagint, which again, I broke that down with Codex Sinaiticus in Deuteronomy 28:68, where they say it's talking about going back to Egypt on slave ships or what have you. And then I showed you guys where it's not saying nothing about going back to Egypt on ships. And the older manuscripts is talking about children in Deuteronomy 28:68. So again, it's what are you going to believe? You can't take, what came after over what came before, because there's no proof in translation. There's no proof that this newer text predates the older text and that is correct. And it's always going to be that way because we don't have the originals and we never will. So it comes down again to that whole common sense thing, something that a lot of Christians don't like to use and religious people, to what are you going to accept? And then, people get all, emotional and try to back that with, faith. I'm going to trust my faith and I'm going to have faith. And I got more respect for those people than the people who argue the book. Because if you're just going to have faith, then have your faith. don't argue the book. Just say, well, I choose to believe in it. That's what I believe in. It's helped me throughout my life. So I'm going to keep on believing in the book and keep on shucking and jiving and thinking that it's real because it gives me hope and, it lets me do what I do. If that's the case, and you're not trying to argue the book and push it on people and say that it's actual history, you're allowed to believe in fairy tales. You're allowed to believe in anything you want as an adult. So, by all means, go do you. And, it's a lot of people who are doing that. And I can't knock them for that. It is what it is. Whatever you have hope in that it's going to help you get ahead in this world, then by all means, take advantage of it. It's just the people who try to push the book and argue the book as being real and true and all this and that. That's what I have a problem with. I'm not here trying to destroy people's hopes and dreams by shattering their faith in the book or what have you. It's just we're putting out truth. And that's what you should walk by when you really get into the book itself. If you actually read the book, that's what it's telling you. The truth shall make you free. It will free you from this bond that you have with this book that is illegitimate. It's bullcrap. It's not real. You didn't read the book. You didn't follow the messages that it's giving you in the book to lead you to real freedom because you're scared of the book. You're worshiping the book instead of worshiping yourself and looking within yourself and understanding the message, the parable that is giving you that everything exists within you and it's all about you and what's in you. And that's what you need to be focusing on. And when you go inward and focus on what's in you, it'll show you the universe and everything you need to know because that what's outside of you exists within you. And it's giving you that in the Bible. Jesus talks about it a bunch of times. Everything is there for you to decipher and to understand. But it begins with you reading the book first, then going the esoteric route and understanding what all the secrecy is and all of the parables and what have you. The stuff that they scare you away from for a reason. I wanted to address this real quick. Got into a long, lengthy conversation with a few people on this topic, just understanding the different books. Because a lot of people interpret it to mean that, the different books was written because they kept discovering new stuff or new manuscripts or what have you. No, they kept saying what came before was old, ignoring the fact that this is supposed to be divinely inspired and God's supposed to be perfect and when it gave you a perfect word to be translated and put out. And if, again, God inspired the word to be put out for all of us to learn and follow and study from, why wouldn't he protect the original manuscripts? Why wouldn't he protect it? If God would send a flood to wipe out mankind, if God will allow Moses to have the power to part the sea, if God would give Elijah and Elisha superhuman powers to do everything they was doing, all this stuff we read in the Bible, if God would do all that, why wouldn't he protect the book? Why wouldn't he make sure we got the original and make sure it was protected? It's not the case because if we had the original, we could break it apart easily and decipher, what really happened there. But by having these different manuscripts, you can say who did what or what have you. It's all left up to interpretation, which is the point. So yeah, you got to look into all that. Again, if you Black, it's a book that you should be studying and not believing in, especially, again, Ephesians 6:5 telling you to obey your slave master as you would Jesus. That should turn you away from the book right there, plain and simple. The fact that we got it during slavery should turn you away from the book. You should really just study the book for what it is. And, they say know your enemy and understand what's going on. But the book is not your enemy. It's really talking to you. What the Hebrews tell you, hey, this is Black history. It's not Black history, but it's speaking to you. And you need to read it and understand what it's talking about and where it's pointing you back to. And, it's a lot of stuff I get into in a lot of videos, but it's deep and it's a lot of deep information. Bible is one of the greatest books ever written, hands down, period, point blank. You need to read it. I don't care which one you get. I got a bunch of them over here. You need to read them. Just the King James Version alone, you need to read the book. Everything is in there. It's pointing you into so many different directions that you need to understand and realize what it's speaking to. So yeah, I wanted to get into this because a lot of people have questions. A lot of people, this is something that shouldn't even be a big deal. There are many different versions of the Bible. Which one do you choose? It's up to you. The King James Version was written for this modern time for us. So that's the one you need to be following. The other ones was written for those people during those times. So again, I go back to what I was talking about with them finding the Nag Hammadi manuscripts and them talking about dragons in those scripts, actual dragons, and it was a fear. And I talked about this in my videos on dragons. There was this big fear about these dragons. And you're reading this in this book and it's as if it's a fairy tale story. And then you look around and you see all the legends that's outside of the Bible of dragons. It's something that you cannot ignore and you got to really look into. And it's deep stuff that I talk about in previous videos. But yeah, I'm going to touch on this topic real quick. For the people, my Never Pay Again members who I sent emails out to, just in the emails, I give you guys the link to get the video, both videos for $9.99. And I just touch on what's been going on, you know. And I only said that to you guys, to my Never Pay Again members. You know, I didn't talk about this, you know, what happened in video. So you guys get a photo and you'll get my message. And I appreciate everybody who supported. You know, a couple people donated, I supported. Hey, listen, they trying to destroy me. They're trying to discredit me. My accounts is locked. I'm fighting to get my money back. And who knows how long. They're going to hold it up for as long as possible. Like, I'm really out here doing the best I can. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. I was about to get on food stamps at one point. I ain't gonna lie to you. Before, it was crazy. But like, luckily, like I said, you know, I'm educated. I know a lot, and I've been able to do what I need to do to feed my family, what have you. So this support, I really appreciate it, and you know, it means a lot. And I don't want people coming away with some type of, you know, bullshit understanding that I'm trying to scam people out of books. All people who talking that shit, stop that shit. Again, if it's that deep, and this is what I don't understand, if it's that deep, if you believe I'm scamming you, like, it's 2024. All you have to do, because I don't have control over the accounts no more. They have that. You know, I have my PayPal, that's it, and that's the other PayPal. And if you feel like you were scammed or what have you, like, or if you didn't get a refund already, you can go to your bank and get a refund. All you gotta do is put in the transaction history, I did not receive it. And they'll give you your money back. It's just that simple. I'm not holding on to money and just not giving it to you guys. I don't have it. They took everything. And that's really what happened. Like I said, a lot of people went right through their banks. If they didn't get the refund from us, you can go right through your bank and say, I did not receive the property, and they'll give you a refund. It's not hard at all. The same type of process you would have to do with me, you can do it with your bank, and it'll be even quicker. So for those people who couldn't wait, who can't wait, running around like I stole something from you, that's all you got to do. It's not that deep. I appreciate everybody who having the patience. It would be so easy to just ship the books. I would just ship them. There's no way I would do anything like this and hold people's book. It's not me. The guys who've been banging with me since, you know, over a decade now, you understand what's been going on with the situation. It's just not in my character to do something like that. Like, it's just not. I've paid people rent. I've paid subscribers rent here on YouTube. Now, I've done a lot. So I'm not even going to go into everything I've done that would, you know, prove my character. If you know, you know. It's not that deep to me. It's more important stuff going on. You know, the people who support. I appreciate you guys, and it's really helping out. And I'm fighting. I'm doing what I got to do. I'm hanging in there, and it's been a struggle. Like, the last year has been absolutely ridiculous. One thing after another. Like, they want me to blow my fucking brains out. Seriously, it's been that deep. But, you know, been struggling, fighting through it. And, you know, it is what it is at this point. I'm winning at this point, you know, by the way. Things looking good with the cases. And I know eventually they just dragging it out. Everything's going to go in my favor because I went to law school. I know case law. I know presidents. And when you look at the presidents on this whole matter, I'm going to win. So it's nothing they can put out to prove I'm doing or trying to do what they're saying I'm doing. Or, you know, and it's no way I should have to pay anybody anything, especially the way I put the stuff in the book. So again, it's a lot. It's a lot. So again, appreciate it if you never pay again members this one time. You get both videos for $9.99. If you can support, grab the videos. Anybody who's out there who wants the videos, please grab the videos. Please support. We definitely need it. We definitely appreciate it. And, you know, I don't come here and say stuff like this unless it's deep and it's serious. So yeah, I appreciate the support. It's just so much information I got to put out, man. It's just a lot that's been going on. But again, you know, the people who sent questions or what have you, and, you know, the guys who I've talked to a lot of you guys. We dialogue back and forth. Yeah, we're gonna get into those topics. It's a lot of topics, a lot of new DVDs coming out. I want to get the new platform together first before I start putting out too much new content. So I'm saving the good stuff until then because I want you guys to get those videos for free. I have a few new series coming out. I have more Saturn Satan videos coming out because as I put in frequency, yeah, you guys see what's going on. As I put in the guide of 2025, I should say, you guys see what's going on. And there's a lot more Saturn stuff that is mind-blowing that we're going to get into. So yeah, you know, thanks for listening to me rant on all this whole thing. And It's a lot of deep stuff when it comes to the books. Look into it. Again, you guys already know, I've been doing this for a long time, but I always tell people to go do their own research. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. You're going to come to the same conclusion. It's just that simple. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch. Everybody who supported, who copied the videos, I appreciate you guys. You have no idea how much it's helping. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next video.